All right, let's take a look now at the meme trade, because as we mentioned, I mean, it is full on back in this market. AMC is now the star of the show, taking over from GameStop. But let us not sleep on GameStop, which has had a huge week. AMC shares, as we noted in the pre-market, up about 15%. And, Julie, we see the heat map here of some of these meme names, but I am just shocked to see AMC up 35% over the last week, up 17% in pre-market trade. And we talked to Rich Greenfield a week ago, and he was sort of like telling us, reminding us that this is still a very much a passionate Reddit trade. And I think I had certainly fallen asleep on it. And here we are, with gains now looking, stocks basically doubled in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and you know how he reminded us? He said that AMC is not a good business and still is in secular decline. I wrote up that story and got quite a lot of Twitter hate from folks who are still short squeezing that stock. So that was a little bit of a wake-up call for me personally, to know that people on Reddit were still paying attention to the likes of an AMC. Pretty incredible, isn't it? I'm actually going to switch on over, since we're looking at AMC, because I am curious to look at that sort of longer term chart. There's a 2-year chart of AMC. I mean, look at that thing. It's just kind of amazing. The thing was obviously left for dead, right? And then we saw the initial spike. The spike now, obviously larger even than that. We got some interesting numbers, by the way, from Bespoke Investment Group that also talks about sort of the magnitude of the activity around AMC. They said that yesterday, AMC stock alone made up nearly 2/3 of the New York Stock Exchange consolidated turnover. And they said, the NYSE is only one trading venue, but still, even as a sample, that it was consisting of so much of that trading volume and turnover, $16 billion traded. It's just kind of staggering to think about, guys.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I would say it's more interesting now than what it was early in the year, and that's predominantly because we have people going back to work. They're going back in the office, and if they're not going back to work, they're venturing outside even more. So I would argue we don't have the same contained audience of traders as we did earlier in the year. So see this action is very fascinating. I will note this too. The action is back in a big way. At the stock price, Julie, and the short sellers likely covering their shorts here. But I'm on Twitter this morning. You see the hashtag AMC strong, hashtag AMC squeeze. There are a lot of people, supporters of AMC out there right now on social media trying to send this stock up even further. So it could be another wild end to the session for this stock and even to a lesser extent in GameStop.
And I would
Are you guys going to the movies? Is anybody here going to the movies? Has anyone gone to the theater?
No, we're going to do fundamentals. We're going to pivot the fundamentals here. Come on.
No, but I mean, at some point, will fundamentals matter?
I didn't mention fundamentals.
I mean, look. Of course, at some point they matter. But I think that point is not today. I was just going to say that I think, Sozzi, to your point about people have other things to do. I mean, I agree. We can all. I think maybe that idea of a captive audience perhaps maybe was a little overplayed in terms of how much that factored into the retail trading environment. I think what factors into the retail environment is that everything went up last year, and a lot of people who maybe at the beginning of the year didn't know what they were doing and sort of figured it out over time using Robinhood or basically any platform now is free. So the trade itself is costless. They made money, a lot of money. I think a lot of individuals, significantly beat the market last year using a variety of different, strategies. Maybe the strategy is throw stuff at the wall and see what works. But most stocks, like the vast majority of individual securities, went up in price last year. Forget about the strong index gains that we've seen. So the AMC story, as you note, Saz, it's a replay of the GameStop story in that you have, coordinated online communities talking up a stock, getting in the stock and seeing shares move higher. There's a ton of options activity inside of AMC as well. And so, I think that it worked one time, and now people are like, well, that's the playbook. So we can make it happen again. And I think it's clear that this is not going to be the last episode of this. I don't know what the next name will be, but it seems very obvious that this strategy is not just going to go away over time.
One small stat here before we get going. I mean, if it opens at its current levels, I mean, AMC's market cap might be a little over $16 billion. It just crossed $10 billion for the first time yesterday. So these are mind-blowing moves we're seeing here. The stock's up about 125% so far on the week.
And if I look at the long-term chart, I know Julia pulled up the 1 year and the 2 year earlier. The record high that I'm seeing via our data is right around $36 a share. So that's the level to watch today, right? It's only $5 away from that, in pre-market indication. So we'll see where things
those fundamentals
shake out. Yeah, all about fundamentals. All right.